Hey everyone, just wanted to welcome you to episode number one of the PitCast, the first podcast to openly fight pro Pitbull propaganda. I'm Buckshot with my co-host Slime, and I just want to give you a little bit of background before we jump into it. Straight up, we don't like pit bulls. We know they cause harm. We didn't always feel this way. I'll pass it over to Slime to go into a little bit more detail.
Yeah, hello, this is Slime. Um, as Buckshot said, we didn't always feel this way about pit bulls. And about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, I ironically started hating pit bulls just because the online community gets very, very upset when you attack pit bulls.
And they're god awful ugly dogs too. First of all, I just want to make that clear.
For sure. Um, so what started as irony research pit bulls, the statistics, the maulings, deaths, all of that, and I quickly actually started to despise the breed. I hate everything about them. Uh, their features, their
Yeah, it's definitely
and
definitely not good.
yeah. And one of the things I hate the most about them,
Wait, I didn't hear you. You cut out one more time.
I hate their fucking shark eyes. I don't know what it is about their eyes, but they look like sharks.
I think it's probably because all they want to do is bite people. That's probably it.
Well, see, here's the thing. Pit bulls kill more people each year than sharks do. So I think pit bulls are actually more dangerous than sharks.
The sharks of the land is what they call them.
So, do you want to dip into a little bit of the history behind pit bulls?
I'm honestly not that knowledgeable about the history, so I'm excited to hear this. I'm sure you guys are too.
Yeah, so dating back to the early 18, well,
Before you go off on this, I just want to touch on a common misconception I've heard. I've heard from several people that they were bred as nanny dogs. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it's certainly I don't know how they're talking about a pit bull. But go ahead, sorry.
yeah, well, we'll cover the nanny dog myth
Okay.
later in the episode, but it's completely false. So pit bulls were originally bred back in the early 1800s. So in Old England, there's a sport and bear baiting. So bull baiting would be a pit with a bull in it, and Old English bulldogs would fight these bulls, basically. So a dog would grab onto the nose of a bull, hold, shake, and this would last for hours until the bull would finally tire out or
Mic off.
freeze.
Mic on.
So wait,
So
you're saying you're saying they were bred for killing? That doesn't make any
uh,
sense. They're such sweet animals.
they were in fact bred for killing, which I know is very hard to acknowledge, but it's the truth.
Pit mommies are crying right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can't wait to see the comments on this. Um, Bull baiting was banned in 5 after the British Parliament passed the Cruelty to Animals Act. Bull baiting was gone. People soon moved to rat baiting or ratting. Essentially the same concept as bull baiting. We'd have a pit with a bunch of rats, and people would send their dogs out to see whose dog could kill the most rats in the least amount of time. Yeah. So, Old English bulldogs, which is an old ancestor of the pit bull, those were used for bull baiting. I'm not exactly sure if pit bulls were bred
Mic
during
off.
bull baiting.
Mic
So,
on.
Old English bulldogs were bred with terriers to make a more agile fight dog. So after the ratting started, They were bred for agility, high prey drive. They got to be small, quick, muscular animals, and that's what we see pit bulls as today. Not much has changed in most aspects.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that's changed is their environment. Instead of doing something cool like killing a bull, now they're used for flexing on Instagram in front of their high points and shitty cars.
Yes, yes. Break down pit bull owners into about 4 different categories.
I would love to
First,
hear these categories.
so the first and worst category, these are the pit mommies. These are the ones you see on Instagram who put flower crowns on their pitties, dress as
He wouldn't hurt a fly.
yeah. My pitty's so harmless he wouldn't hurt a fly. Those are the pit mommies. They're the
Flash
absolute
forward 2
worst.
months, their baby doesn't have any legs.
Yeah, yeah. Pit bulls are notorious for killing infants, which thing. Next we have wannabe badasses. So these are the dog because they either have small dicks or something to feel insecure about. So I like to compare pit bulls in the large diesel. Next, we have people with savior complexes. These are usually white women, millennials, Gen Z. The pit bulls as what was that?
I was gonna ask really quick. Is there some overlap between the pit mommies and the savior complex white girls?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Selves are actual category, but a lot of pit mommies are pit mommies with savior complexes.
Got you. So we have on the docket here different types of pit bulls. I didn't know there were any types besides completely awesome pit bulls that never did anything wrong, and then the ones you see on the news where they murder a baby. So if you want to go through that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, so common misconception, pit bulls is not actually a specific breed. Almost like it's a blanket term for
Anything that murders and kills.
melanistic jaguars and melanistic never mind. So it's a blanket term. There's 5 main types of pit bulls that fall under this blanket. American Bully. These are the very short, muscular pit bulls.
Like
Originally
a
bred
Reggie
in the-
Bush.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna make football comparisons to every single type of pit bull you lay out there. Just letting you know.
all right, yeah. So American pit bulls American bullies originally bred in the 80s and 90s, and the
Much like Reggie Bush.
United Kennel Club recognized them in
Mic off.
2013.
Mic on.
Next, we have the American Pit Bull Terrier. This is bred from the Old English Bulldog and Terriers. Funny thing, this breed is recognized by the United Kennel Club, but still isn't recognized by the American Kennel Club today, which is fantastic. I love that.
That's straight bigotry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's animal racism. Third, we have the American Staffordshire Terrier with the shark eyes. These are the shark-eyed fuckers. They're scary. They look like demon dogs. I'd say out of all the breeds under the blanket, these ones are the scariest.
Now those ones have black eyes, right?
Yeah, they have the the lifeless eyes that you just
You squeeze if you're walking by one with your kid, you grab them a little bit tighter.
yeah. And a lot of the pit nutters will crop their ears, and once the American Staffordshire Terrier's ears are cropped, actual demons, and
Yeah.
they are not pleasant to look at in the
What do
slightest.
you think about cropping ears in general for dogs? I think it's pretty shitty.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible.
It's like because I've seen it
Their
where it goes
ears
wrong
for
and they end
dog
up in the
fighting.
they end up in the splints for months and then they finally
Yeah,
take them off because they're like, oh, why isn't my dog looking beautiful like some sort of show dog? They take it off and the ears are still floppy after 6 months. Like, what's the point anyway? You're just pissing off the dog.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
if
For
you do
that,
that to your dog and you get bit, bro, that's on you.
it is. Yeah, I saw on r slash band Pitbulls. There was a person in Walmart with a ESA dog. Don't even get me started on ESAs.
That's next episode.
Yeah. So they had their ESA pit bull in Walmart, ears cropped, scars all over it. The service dog vest on, which just pisses me off.
Yeah, what is it? Is it servicing the fucking morgue?
Yeah. Fourth dog under the blanket, the Staffordshire Bull Terrier. This is another breed developed in the late 1800s. And finally, we have American Bulldogs, which are just
Mic on.
descendants of English Bulldogs. And fun fact, English Bulldogs are extinct.
Really?
Yeah, they are. The Old English Bulldog, extinct. And that's one of the dogs that the pit bulls were bred to be. So those are the 5 main breeds that fall under the pit bull blanket.
The more you know.
Yeah. Others are bull terriers, chamuco. Can you guess where those are from?
Mexico.
Exactly. Got it. Pago Argentino and cane corsos. Now, cane corsos, people will often breed cane corsos and another pit bull breed.
Dear God. Aren't cane
Yeah,
corsos giant?
The cane corso bite force, I think, is like 509 third in dog bite force. It's somewhere around there.
No,
580.
I'm only asking this because you probably know what's like an alligator bite force.
Yes, so the American alligator.
I think crocs are harder.
Yeah, crocs are. I think Nile crocodiles are up in the 6,000 psi, while an American alligator is around 2,000.
Rip Steve Irwin.
Yeah, well, he was killed by a stingray. Fuck stingrays.
It's a whole nother podcast.
Whole other podcast.
So I guess before we move anything else, I just kind of wanted to tell my story behind why I started to not like pit bulls, and it's a very personal to me story. So I was around 13, and I was at my babysitter's house. I was having a good time. We were playing Monkey in the Middle. I fell through this glass table playing Monkey in the Middle to do some sweet backhanded catch. It was going to be awesome. My hand went through this glass table, and I swear to God, their dog, that was so nice to me this whole life. It was actually one of my favorite dogs, and I told my dad, hey, can we get a pit bull? Because we've had other dogs similar to that in the past that would be considered aggressive breeds of dogs. And that dog looked at me like a shark smelled blood in the water. He came after me, and what was once a slight scar turned into him having my whole hand in his mouth, yanking me around. And me as a 13-year-old kid, I didn't know what to do, so I just scream and I start punching and punching. And finally they get the dog off of me. So that's really when I started to feel skeptical about dogs in a whole, until we got a nice chocolate lab. His name's Fudge. He's adorable. And I noticed there's a huge difference between pit bulls and adorable, playful dogs like a chocolate lab. Labs and all sorts of other retrievers have, I think it's literally called a soft mouth, right? Because they're
Yeah.
specifically bred for retrieving. They don't like. It's in the hunter's favor to get something back that's unscathed. And
Yeah, they're
and you look at pit bulls and they're literally bred to kill and murder animals. So it's like it's just
yeah.
crazy to me. And ever since then, I guess I probably started feeling better about dogs ever since I turned. I think we got fudged when I was 18 or 19. And yeah, I still dislike pit bulls, and that's exactly why I'm here.
Yeah, so I just want to touch on I'm by no way, shape, or form a dog hater. I love dogs. Family had 8 dogs in the house, which at the time I thought was cool, but looking back on it, my parents used that as a coping mechanism for their shitty marriage. So if you know somebody with a lot of dogs, more than likely their marriage is on the rocks.
I love dogs
Um,
too. Now I just don't want to give anyone the wrong impression. I'm a huge dog person. I'm slightly allergic to them, but I don't let that hold me back. I'm
yeah,
very allergic to pit bulls, though. That's my excuse if someone wants me to introduce them to a pit bull.
yeah. Actually, so in high school, I adopted a dog from a prison. They had a program there where the inmates would train the dogs, and then the dogs would be adopted.
Mic off.
So I find this dog on an app, and it says it's a husky mix. Looking back on it now, I know it was a husky pit bull mix, but this dog was horrible. We actually had to put him on Prozac because he was so wall. Uh, would snip at people, growl. Every time I walked towards him, he would piss. Um, he eventually ended up biting somebody pretty bad, so we had to put him down. At the time, I felt bad for it, but now I'm thankful we did so before anything happened. The pit bull snap is a real thing, no matter what pit nutters try to tell you. A pit bull can be the kindest dog, and then something just snaps in it, and it, tears a child apart. So they're wildly unpredictable. Yeah, labs are the best dogs, in my
I
opinion.
I totally agree. I love labs. I like any sort of retrieving dog. They're the best, especially if you
Well,
actually use them for what they're intended for. If you have a hunting dog and you take it hunting, there's not a dog that'll love you more than that dog ever. Seriously.
exactly. And a lot of these people think that all dogs are like a blank slate, but all dogs throughout history have served a purpose. So retrieving dogs, they would retrieve. My mom had a chocolate lab and never been hunting, never retrieved. Would catch it in his mouth from 15 yards away. And that's not something we taught him to do. It's just in his genetic. That's what retrievers do. Same thing, you know, herding dogs, Australian shepherds, they herd. Pit bulls, they were bred for dog fighting, bull baiting, rat baiting. Uh, they kill,
So
and
so do you blame the pit bulls themselves, or do you blame the individual owners, or do you blame society for letting them
yeah.
continue
So
to breed?
pit bulls themselves, you
Mic
know,
off.
they're not exactly
Mic on.
sentient. They're just doing what they were bred to do, and for the past 200 years, humans have been breeding them for bull baiting. They were bred for gameness, uh, bred to bite and hold, shake, not let go. And today when you see pit bulls, you see stories all the time where a pit bull is attacking somebody and almost goes into a different zone to get them off. I saw a video not too long ago of a pit bull attacking another dog, and they had to tase this dog multiple times just to get
Jeez.
it to stop.
Speaking of stories, do you want to hop into the? I know you highlighted a story this week. If you want to go ahead and inform our wonderful guest about that.
Yeah,
This is
so
the first time I'm hearing of this too, by the way.
this is a very in Akron, Ohio, on October. A couple was in a home arguing. I think it was a 20-year-old male and a 20-year-old arguing in a home with a 16-month-old girl,
Oh no.
and there were two pit bulls inside. And in the midst of the argument, the two pit bulls mauled this 16-month-old girl, transported to the hospital where she died at Akron's Children's Hospital, which is just an absolute shame. And
It's
if
super
people would,
sad. It's super sad, but like what the fuck do you expect to happen? You have a dog that is literally bred to kill. It's vicious, even if it hasn't shown signs of like aggression before. Like you have it in a household where people are arguing, you have to expect it to do that. And you can't you can extend that to families that aren't arguing too. Like you said, the pit bull snap is a legitimate thing. And because it's a legitimate thing, you have to be aware of the people you bring around. You can't bring a soft, fleshy baby around the fucking pit bull.
yeah,
That's ridiculous.
yeah, you shouldn't leave an infant or even a toddler or alone with any dog, but leaving a child alone with a pit bull is just,
It's mind-boggling.
yeah. And I obviously don't want to victim blame. We don't know the circumstances these dogs were in. Been avoided, and this little girl, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure. They all feel terrible about it. Hopefully, the parents never have a pit bull again. Do you know if that dog was euthanized?
I do not know, but it's very common for people they have killed a small child. I will cover this story another time, but there was a case in North Carolina where a 7-year-old
Mic
girl
off.
was mauled to
Mic
death,
on.
and the dogs are still being held. The owners want them back because they are, quote, emotional support animals.
Oh my god.
Yeah. In that
Jesus.
case, infuriates me, and I want to go deep into it on a future episode.
Yeah, let's save that for then. That's just so tragic. I can't imagine being the grandparents of that baby thinking maybe they had the thought in their head the whole time, huh, maybe my unstable son or daughter shouldn't have a pit bull with a small baby in the same house.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it happens all too often.
And we're not just going to tell you stories about pit bulls attacking and other bad pit bull news without taking any sort of steps towards stopping it. I don't know what the best process for this to be, but we want to start some sort of, I don't want to say anti-pit bull charity, but something maybe to help out the victims. Uh, we'll work this out later on. We just wanted to get started for now, but I don't think it's right for us to talk about all these bad things that happened and advocate for the banning of pit bulls or the euthanization of pit bulls without actually taking some sort of actionable step towards progress.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a great idea. I would love to help some of the victims out because, I was just in a car accident a couple weeks ago, and I can't. Hospital bills are going to look like. So, anything we can do to help the families out with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I think that's all we have on the docket for this week, right?
What's up?
I think that's all we have on the docket for this week, right? Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we wrap this up?
I want to cover one thing. I want to
Yeah, go ahead.
slaughter a Pitbull propaganda. So whenever you're arguing with the pit bulls, a pit nutter, they always are, claim Chihuahuas are the devil. They're so aggressive, all of this stuff, and I will agree. I've had 2 Chihuahuas. One is an angel, and the other one is an absolute demon. But the demon, he's smaller than my cat, and he can't really do much damage, so we kind of just think it's funny. So there have been 2 recorded human deaths caused by Chihuahuas from 2005 to 2018. And it's funny because the 2018 fatality also involved 2 pit bulls. which is very ironic.
So,
46 U.S. dog bite-related fatalities occurred in
Mic off.
2020.
Mic on.
Guess how many pit bulls accounted for those deaths? Well,
how,
guess how many of those deaths were caused by
pit bulls are like, are we? I guess just pit bulls. I don't know. That's hard because there are some other breeds of dogs that I think we should lump in with pit bulls. I'm gonna say half.
Close. So they accounted for 33 of the 40,
Of the
making
of the 40 what?
72%.
72%. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
72%. And deaths, there were 10 total breeds. So back on the Chihuahua, they have a bite force of 100 to 180 psi. If you Google this, there's one guy who claimed Chihuahuas had a bite force of 3,900 psi. And to put that into perspective, American alligators have a bite force of 2,000 psi. Entirely accurate. Badass. So compared to a Chihuahua Pit Bull,
Mic off.
American Pit Bull
Mic
Terrier, they have a bite force of 235, and we have an American Bulldog at 305 psi. So, in my opinion, I might be crazy for stating this, but I would much rather than a pit.
I don't know. Hold on a second. We're having a slight problem here.
I can hear you.
My Discord just disconnected really quickly, but we're still live. Let's continue here. We can cut
What
it
did you
out.
hear last?
Um, it was that you saying you just started off again by saying you would rather get bit by a Chihuahua than a pit bull.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I know that might sound crazy. I mean, a crazy person, but yeah, I'd rather get bit by a Chihuahua than a pit bull.
That is a hot take.
Yeah.
I've heard from several pit mommies, some I even know personally, that Chihuahuas are the worst breed of dogs and far more dangerous than their precious little pitty. So that
Oh
boggles
yeah.
my mind.
Yeah, pit bulls are no other dog you can dress up in, cute pajamas and take cute pit mommy pics for the gram. They're just, they're the nicest dog. If you ignore
Absolutely.
the statistics and all the medical studies,
And all the anecdotal evidence.
but yeah, anecdotal evidence, that's pit nutters love to throw that out.
Yeah. When a pit nutter
Just
says,
so
my
you
pitty's
know,
sweet, just
anecdotal
give him a month.
statistical evidence.
Yeah. Or you wanna go ahead and call it a show, or you got another topic?
I mean, I have quite a bit about the history of pit bulls that we could cover, but
Let's save that for next show. Let's retouch on the history then.
awesome. Yeah, I'd like to definitely do a very in-depth episode on the history. But
Let's do that. That sounds good. Awesome. Well,
yeah.
I appreciate everyone tuning into episode 1 of the PitCast. Like I said, we're gonna work on getting some sort of charitable fund or donation or other sort of cause we can all help contribute to. Wanted to apologize. There may have been a couple technical issues. I know Slime was cutting out a little bit, but forgive us, hang with us, and we'll get that straightened out. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in.
On Spotify, YouTube, can you think of any other streaming services?
Podbean?
Podbean,
Podbean. Well, no, we're gonna make our own app, Pitbean.
Pitbean, that's perfect.